Welcome to the Scandinavian Mind podcast, our weekly show about how technology is changing the creative industries. Today in the program, an exclusive interview with Lars Fredriksson, CEO of Verso. We're going to revisit a live talk that I held with Lars from CIFF, the Copenhagen International Fashion Fairs, earlier this year. In this conversation, we talk about why vitamin A is a key to Verso's products, how they built such a successful brand, their own patent, the near one, the role of biotech going forward, and what it means to be as a responsible beauty brand today. My name is Konrad Olsson, editor-in-chief and founder of Scandinavian Mind. And with me here, before we listen to the talk, is my dear colleague, our senior editor and beauty expert, Johan Magnusson. How are you, Johan?
Yeah, I'm good. And you?
I'm excited about our upcoming beauty innovation, our upcoming Insights newsletter, and that's what I wanted to have you on before our talk with Lars. We're just like a week away from launching the newsletter. Super excited to launch this, given all the early signups we've gotten from the industry. What's the temperature with you, Johan? Are you excited about this?
I get great feedback, especially on the innovation angle, I think. The fact that it's called beauty innovation. Of course, it's a highly innovative industry, but the innovation side of it, when it comes to media outlets, our media colleagues, is not always that present, you know.
Yeah, this is obviously the position we've taken and the gap in the market that we've seen. It's going to be a weekly Insights newsletter with, obviously news updates from the world and from the Nordics, but also a particular focus on new technologies, innovations, specifically related to sustainability. It's also going to be commentary and analysis, as well as new data coming out from the industry. So if you work in the beauty industry, if you're a beauty nerd, if you're a decision maker, C-level person, I think this is something for you. So go to scandinavianmind.com/beauty innovation to get early access to our upcoming Insights newsletter. And if you become a subscriber, you will also get access to our seasonal reports and our especially invitations to our events. We already have a couple planned for this year, so that's going to be super exciting as well. All right, let's get into our interview with Lars. Just a few words on Lars, Johan. We've been following Verso, their journey since the past. Is it 7 or 8 years? I think they're one of the most interesting Nordic beauty brands. What's your take on Verso?
For me, they're a front runner when it comes to premium skincare in Scandinavia. Also, of course, science-backed. So the price tag, there's a reason for the price tag. But of course, developing your own patents and such is very costly. So they've shown that it's not only, for instance, the major fashion houses own skincare or makeup that comes with a high price tag, but that we can also deliver that from our region.
Mm. Well, we'll get into their premium position in this conversation. Live talk with Lars Fredriksson, the CEO and founder of Verso, held at the Copenhagen International Fashion Fairs earlier this year. Enjoy.
Thank you, Konrad. Thank you for having me here.
So good to have you here. You are actually turning 10 this year.
Oh, yeah. Yes, we are. Verso was launched 10 years ago.
Yeah, maybe we should start there at the origin. I mean, a lot of people know your brand, and I know many people hail you as kind of one of the pioneering new modern skincare brands coming out of the Nordics. I want to talk both about what you wanted to do with the brand in terms of ingredients, and I know with specifically with vitamin A, but you also have this sort of modern packaging, modern branding that I know was important for you in the beginning. So can you talk about those early days of launching the brand?
Well, absolutely. It all started obviously with the formulation, and I've been in the industry for quite some time, and vitamin A has been very dear to me and known in our industry to be the golden standard, but also known to have a few challenges, both in terms of how it can irritate the skin, but also in the production, how to make it stable. So we put a lot of effort into that and did a lot of research and came up with a technology that is able to give all these high concentrated effects that you would look for a vitamin A or retinol product without giving any side effects. And that has been, obviously the key from the very start, in the very beginning. At the same time, when we were creating the brand and doing the whole development, we wanted to create something that should be the best of two worlds. We wanted to have really performance-driven skincare, and at the same time, it should be in a classic Scandinavian packaging.
And talk about, we'll get back to the formulations and retinol, but talk about that launch of the brand with the packaging, because I know that was key to bringing the brand to the global market pretty quickly, right? You had some really strong retailers early on.
Yes, and I must say that we are we had a very great collaboration with our agency in Stockholm, and they did a fantastic work with the graphics and the identity of the brand, and it kind of gave us, it was important to them as it was for us, so it gave us a lot of awards in the beginning, but not necessarily for the products, but rather for the design. But it opened up a lot of doors for us, and eventually, obviously, when people start using the brand, they also noticed that it really was something really, really good for the skin.
Was that at all a problem? I mean, I know you're passionate about the formulations and efficacy of the product, but that you got so much attention for basically the cool packaging in the beginning. Was that ever an issue for you?
Well, I'm not going to say it was an issue, but the thing is that when a lot of people, when they met the brand in the beginning, they said that it's a cool packaging, but they might not be able, or they didn't see what the brand was all about. So when we ended up in a lot of lifestyle stores and so on and so forth, they was not really aware or did not know about the technology behind the brand. Since we also been very keen to have the minimalistic and simplicity to the brand, it was not so outspoken in packaging and in communication.
So I think we have a lot of knowledge in the audience, and we know from people also consuming the Scandinavian Mind content that there are people in the industry. So I think we can afford ourselves to be a bit nerdy when it comes to the actual formulations. And I mean, you were early on with the retinol, but you also developed your own patent called Near One. Can you talk about what that is for starters, and something about the process of doing that?
Well, if vitamin A has been something that's been very near to me or dear to me from the very beginning, the other ingredient that I hold very dear is vitamin B3, also known as niacinamide. They work quite well together, but what we wanted to do is see if we could merge the two molecules, what would happen then? And what it turned out is that the niacinamide would actually enhance the efficacy and the performance of vitamin A, at the same time making it more gentle to the skin. So all of a sudden we have really a very, very interesting new ingredient that is able to perform and outperform many other vitamin A.
Right. And can you talk a little bit about what does vitamin A do? Why is it so important?
Well, I mean, to put in one sentence is that it will make your skin cell behave like a young one. So and
we all want that.
Yeah. So this goes for all vitamin A, and then you have, because vitamin A is an umbrella name, and there are different kinds of derivatives and varieties. So the tricky part is to have an effective vitamin A without giving any side effects. And the typical side effects that you can get from a strong, very effective vitamin A, you get red, scaling, and flakiness. But that's something that we have overcome with our technology.
Right. Well, that's something I think many people, or I think there are people that consider vitamin A, as you said, something really strong, and you know, typically, historically, you don't use it during the daytime, maybe most at nighttime. How has this developed?
Well, that is also something that part of our vision is to make vitamin A more available to more people. So that's why we have been working so much to have a vitamin A that can be less irritating. And there has been a lot of myths when it comes to vitamin A. And one of them is that it cannot be used during daytime, which is completely wrong. The other thing is that it thins out your skin, which is also wrong. It actually builds up the skin. So we're so strongly believe in vitamin A that we believe that each one of you, all over here, should use at least one vitamin A product every day. If you do that today, continue. If you don't, Verso could be, an alternative.
And again, back to your own patent, one. I mean, the topic of this day is beauty innovation. Can you say anything? I'm sure this is proprietary and this is kind of behind the scenes, but what has it been like developing your own patent? And can you say anything about how you have gone about doing that?
Long, sleepless nights, costly, and headache. But I think that, like most of entrepreneurs and that when you do believe in something, you don't give up. But there's been so many hiccups, and it took us 8 years actually to develop this. And we are we're a small company. We do not belong to the big ones, so we're trying to do it in our own way and not necessarily the way that many others are doing it.
And what is the value of having your own? Because there's so many ingredients out there. There's so much things you can source of what's on the market. What's the value of having your own patent?
Well, I think one of the things that we've seen in today's market, and if you compare today, just 5-10 years ago, there's so many more brands out there. And they're launching new brands and new products every day. And one of the key things is just to make sure that you have something that makes you unique. And that could be many things. But one of the things that we take very much proud in is obviously the branding and the story, but also the ingredient. That we have something that we can actually be very proud that no one else has. And I think today where we have so many great raw material suppliers, there's so much innovation is happening. And I was listening to Johan's talk earlier, and there's so many things happening. But at that time, we still believe that it's so important for us to have something that is unique.
Yeah. Speaking of our talk earlier, we talked a lot about the notion of biotech. I'm going to throw a few of these buzzwords at you and see how you react. So how do you see the role of biotech going forward, and what's your approach to sort of lab-grown versus natural-grown ingredients?
I'm positive. I think, first of all, I think we're just in the beginning. I think there's so many exciting things happening out there. So, yeah, positive.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Another term we keep coming back to is this notion of clean beauty, and sometimes it's also referred to as candy beauty.
Yeah.
Do you use these terms, or I'm sure you're exposed to them in the industry?
We are definitely exposed to them. I think that's something that Johan also mentioned in his talk, that it's all about a definition. How do you define it? And for us, when we 10 years ago, when we decided and we started the brand, for us, we said then, and we still continue to say that we are trying to simplify how to use a performance-driven skincare range. That you may not need to have layers and layers of product. And when we formulate, we are very keen to make sure that we don't use too many ingredients. We're not adding anything that makes it look nicer or more fluffy or anything like that. So each and every ingredient is there for a specific reason. So I think being a performance-driven brand, I would say that we have less ingredients than many other brands. And we are promoting not to use too many products at the same time. So in terms of that, yeah, it could be clean. We are trying to be cautious in terms of sustainability. We are working very close with our packaging suppliers, manufacturing. So, and this is just beginning as well. I think it's just so much more going to happen in terms of this.
Well, related to that, it's also the number of products that you need. I know this is something you think about as well.
Yeah.
You have actually been quite humble. I've heard you say before that, well, as long as you use one at least Verso product, you don't have to have the whole range.
No, no. I mean,
what is? I mean, and obviously the range has grown these past 10 years, but you have some key products that you still have on the line from day one.
Hey, you know, the thing is that when we launched the brand, we were only 5 products. Still today, our 3 bestsellers are among those 5. So it's you know, it really says a lot about how we develop products, and we continue to do that. And why we're adding more products is not necessarily, it's just more to provide products that could be suitable for more people.
Right.
So it's not about adding more product to use for each and every individual.
We talked about sort of one issue I see, and I think the term clean beauty is sort of testament to this. Is we're sometimes in the industry lacking a common language or a unified definitions of what we mean with some of this terminology. And related to sustainability, I can kind of see the same thing. It's something it's a discussion that is rising in the industry right now, but people are using different terms different ways. How do you see this issue evolving in the industry today? Is this something, do we need more a unification around some of these terminologies?
I would say so. I mean, if we just take the term clean, it is all about, we see today, and I think you put it very well in the last talk, that you will get as many definitions as many people that you ask, especially from brands. So, yes. I think also if we look right now what we are facing, for instance, here in Europe, is that the labeling. We are within the EU, but we are facing a huge challenge where Italy wants to have a certain label and symbols for their sustainability and how to recycle the products. And then France decide to have another one. And then Germany, they want to have a third. So we need to have, and I hope that EU will really take the responsibility here, because, and this is not only for small brands, because I honestly believe that the big brands will have it difficult to follow this.
Right. Okay, so first 10 years, checkbox there. How do you see the next 10 years? So what's in store for Verso? How do you see the roadmap going ahead?
No, we will continue. I mean, we continue to invest in clinical, clinical trials. We very thoroughly testing our products. We will continue to, develop and perform and make our products better. We will. I think there's going to be more work in terms of packaging. I hope that the suppliers will be able to come up with better solutions in terms of to meet the environmental and sustainability work.
Wonderful. Okay, and you are here also as an exhibitor here
Yes, we are.
At CIFF.
Yeah.
Can you say anything? Are there any news happening in the stand? Any new products?
I mean,
horizon?
we are happy now to present our Near One first product with the Super Elixir with our Near One technology. So that's what we're doing here. Yeah, fantastic.
Wonderful. Lars Fredriksson, thank you so much for sharing your insights today. A round of applause.
Thank you.
All right, that was Lars Fredriksson, founder and CEO of Verso, in conversation with me at CIFF, the Copenhagen International Fashion Fairs, earlier this year. Don't forget to sign up to our upcoming Insights newsletter. Visit scandinavianmind.com/beauty innovation. And of course, our regular newsletter you can access at scandinavianmind.com/newsletter. You need all that content. You need all that info, all those insights So don't miss out. And of course, when you're there, order your copy of our latest print issue, our issue 4, also with a bunch of insights on the state of the beauty industry. This has been the Scandinavian Mind podcast with me, Konrad Olsson, and my dear colleague Johan Magnusson. Until next week, goodbye.